Donald J. Trump was born in Queens, New York in 1946. His father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer, and Donald learned the business from him at a young age. After graduating from the Wharton School of Finance at the University of Pennsylvania, he joined his father's company. He soon took control of the family business and renamed it the Trump Organization. His ambition was to make a name for himself in the competitive world of Manhattan real estate. He wanted to build bigger and more glamorous buildings than his father, who mostly focused on housing in other parts of New York City. This drive set the stage for his future as a famous businessman. His big break came with the development of the Grand Hyatt Hotel next to Grand Central Terminal in the late 1970s. This project showed his skill in making deals and using his connections. He then went on to build his most famous property, Trump Tower, a tall, glass skyscraper on Fifth Avenue that opened in 1983. It became a symbol of wealth and success in the 1980s. Over the years, he expanded his business to include Media Group, Atlantic City, casino exteriors, luxury golf course aerial view, international hotel Cityscape Estaca distribute equally, casinos in Atlantic City, golf courses around the world, and hotels in major cities. He put his name on many products, from steaks to water, making the Trump brand widely known across the country and the globe. Even as his business empire grew, Trump faced significant financial problems. Between 1991 and 2009, his companies filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy 6 times. These were not personal bankruptcies, meaning he did not lose his personal wealth. Instead, the bankruptcies were for specific businesses, mostly his hotel and casino properties in Atlantic City, like Media Group, Trump Taj Mahal Atlantic City Exterior, Trump Plaza, Atlantic City Casino, Atlantic City Boardwalk with famous casinos Estaca distribute equally, the Trump Taj Mahal, and Trump Plaza. This legal process allowed his companies to reorganize their debts and continue to operate. While his critics pointed to these bankruptcies as failures, Trump himself often described them as a smart business strategy to manage debt and protect his larger financial interests. In 2004, Donald Trump found a new kind of fame as the host of the reality television show, The Apprentice. On the show, contestants competed for a job in his company, and each week, Trump would famously tell one of them, "You're fired." The program was a huge success and ran for over a decade, making him a household name for a new generation of Americans. This television career changed his public image from just a wealthy developer to a decisive and powerful leader. It gave him a platform to speak directly to millions of people every week, building a base of fans who admired his direct and confident style. This fame would later become a very important part of his political career. For many years, Donald Trump talked about possibly running for president, but few people took him seriously. He switched his political party registration several times and often commented on politics. However, in June 2015, he made an official announcement that he was running for president as a Republican. He came down the escalator at Trump Tower and gave a speech that immediately got a lot of attention. He promised to make America great again, and spoke about issues like illegal immigration and trade deals in a way that was very different from other politicians. His campaign rallies were large and energetic, attracting people who felt left behind by the government and the economy. Trump's campaign was unlike any other in modern history. He used social media, especially Twitter, to talk directly to his supporters and criticize his opponents. He was not afraid to be controversial, and his blunt way of speaking was seen as honest and refreshing by many voters. He defeated more than a dozen other experienced Republican candidates in the primary elections, showing that he had strong support from the party's voters. His message focused on being an outsider who was not part of the political establishment in Washington, D.C. He promised to bring back jobs, build a wall on the southern border, and put America first in all his decisions. In the general election, he faced the Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton, who was a former First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State. The race was very close and hard-fought. Most polls and experts predicted that Clinton would win. However, Trump was able to win key states in the Midwest that had not voted for a Republican president in many years. These victories in states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan were a surprise to many. On Election Day in November 2016, Donald Trump won the Electoral College, which is the system the United States uses to choose its president, even though he received fewer individual votes than Clinton nationwide. His victory sent shockwaves across the country and around the world. It was a clear sign that many American voters were unhappy with the direction of the country and wanted a big change. His supporters celebrated the win of a businessman who they believed could fix the nation's problems. His opponents were worried about what his presidency would mean for the country's future and its relationships with other nations. Donald Trump's election marked a major turning point in American politics, showing the power of a populist message and a candidate who connected with a large part of the population that felt ignored by traditional leaders. Once in office, President Trump moved quickly to enact his agenda. One of his first major achievements was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. This law lowered taxes for corporations and most individuals. The goal was to encourage businesses to invest and create more jobs. And, for a time, the economy grew and unemployment rates fell to their lowest levels in decades. Another key part of his presidency was appointing conservative judges. He successfully appointed 3 justices to the Supreme Court: Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. These appointments tilted the court in a more conservative direction for many years to come and were a major victory for his supporters. Immigration was a central issue throughout his 4 years as president. He signed executive orders that banned travel from several Muslim-majority countries, which led to protests and legal battles. His administration also implemented a zero-tolerance policy at the U.S.-Mexico border, which resulted in the separation of thousands of children from their parents. This policy was widely criticized by human rights groups and many others. Trump also made building a wall on the southern border a top priority, though only parts of it were completed. In foreign policy, he withdrew the United States from the Paris Agreement on climate change and the Iran nuclear deal, and he started a trade war with China by placing tariffs on many goods. The country also experienced significant social and political unrest during his term. Following the death of George Floyd in 2020, large-scale Black Lives Matter protests against police brutality and racial injustice took place in cities across America. President Trump's response to these protests was often controversial. He called for law and order and used strong language that his critics said made the situation worse. His presidency highlighted the deep divisions within American society on issues of race, politics, and culture. These events created a very tense and polarized atmosphere in the country, with passionate arguments on all sides of the issues. In the final year of his first term, the world was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Trump administration's handling of the crisis was a major focus of public attention and criticism. The president often downplayed the seriousness of the virus, promoted unproven treatments, and clashed with his own public health experts. The pandemic caused a severe economic downturn, with businesses closing and millions of people losing their jobs. The government responded by passing large relief packages to help people and businesses. The pandemic and the government's response to it became a defining issue of the 2020 presidential election and a major challenge for the nation. Donald Trump was the 3rd president in United States history to be impeached by the House of Representatives, and, he was the first to be impeached twice. The first impeachment happened in 2019. The House charged him with abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. These charges were related to a phone call he had with the president of Ukraine. Democrats in Congress accused him of pressuring Ukraine to investigate his political rival, Joe Biden, and his son, Hunter Biden, by withholding military aid that Congress had approved. Trump and his supporters said the call was perfect and that he was simply fighting corruption. The House voted to impeach him, but the Senate, which has the final say, acquitted him of the charges in early 2020. His second impeachment came in January 2021, just days before he left office. This time, the charge was incitement of insurrection. This was related to the events of January 6, 2021, when a large mob of his supporters stormed the United States Capitol building. The attack happened while Congress was meeting to certify the results of the 2020 election, which Trump had lost to Joe Biden. Before the riot, Trump had given a speech to his supporters in which he repeated false claims of widespread election fraud and encouraged them to march to the Capitol. The House voted to impeach him again, making him the only president to be impeached twice. The Senate held a trial after he had already left office and voted to acquit him again, though some Republicans did vote against him. Throughout his career and presidency, Trump has faced numerous lawsuits and legal investigations. Before he was president, he settled a lawsuit against Trump University for $25 million. Students had claimed the real estate program was a fraud. His charitable organization, the Trump Foundation, was also shut down after a lawsuit found it had misused funds. More than 20 women have also publicly accused him of sexual misconduct over the years, which he has denied. In a civil case in 2023, a jury found him liable for sexually abusing and defaming the writer E. Jean Carroll, ordering him to pay millions of dollars in damages. After his presidency, the legal challenges continued and, honestly, intensified. He faced several criminal investigations and indictments. These included investigations into his handling of classified documents after leaving the White House, his business practices in New York, and his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Trump has consistently called these investigations politically motivated witch hunts designed to stop him from running for office again. These court cases, both civil and criminal, have followed him throughout his public life and have become a major part of his story, creating ongoing legal battles that have captured the nation's attention. After winning the 2024 election and returning to the White House for a second, non-consecutive term, Donald Trump began to blend his business interests with his political power in new ways. His company, Trump Media and Technology Group, which owns the social media platform Truth Social, became a central part of his new agenda. In late 2024, the company launched a series of financial products, including exchange-traded funds with names like America First. These funds were designed to invest in American companies and industries like energy and technology, including Bitcoin. This move raised concerns among ethics experts about potential conflicts of interest. A major focus of his second term has been the world of digital currency. President Trump declared a goal to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. His company, TMTG, created a subsidiary called World Liberty Financial, which aimed to become a regulated bank for cryptocurrencies. This push into the crypto market was accompanied by actions that, raised questions. For example, he pardoned Changpeng Zhao, the former head of the crypto exchange Binance, after Zhao's company invested $2 billion in World Liberty Financial. The administration also reportedly paused an investigation into another crypto billionaire after he bought a large amount of a Trump-affiliated crypto token. In his second term, President Trump has also focused on shaping the Republican Party in his image. He has been very active in endorsing candidates who are loyal to his America First movement. For example, in early 2026, he endorsed Representative Barry Moore for a Senate seat in Alabama, calling him a true patriot. He also signaled his support for a challenger to Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana. Cassidy was one of the few Republican senators who'd voted to convict Trump during his second impeachment trial. These endorsements show his continued influence over the party and his willingness to reward loyalty and punish those he sees as opponents. The relationship between the Trump administration and the media has also become more tense during his second term. Reports have emerged of increased pressure on independent news organizations. Some journalists have faced threats of lawsuits, and there has been talk of cutting government funding for public media outlets. At the same time, the financial performance of his own media company has been mixed. The stock price for TMTG, which soared in 2024, had fallen significantly by early 2026. This shows the challenges of mixing business and politics, as his financial ventures continue to be a major topic of discussion and controversy during his time in office. Donald Trump's journey from a New York real estate developer to a two-time president of the United States is, honestly, one of the most remarkable stories in American history. His career has been defined by big ambitions, major successes, and constant controversy. In business, he built a global brand and iconic buildings, but also managed his companies through multiple bankruptcies. He used his fame from reality television to launch a political career that no one thought was possible. His ability to connect with a large group of voters who felt forgotten by the political elite changed the rules of politics and reshaped the Republican Party. His time in office brought significant changes to the country. He appointed 3 Supreme Court justices, passed a major tax cut, and changed America's approach to immigration and foreign trade. His presidency was also marked by deep divisions, large protests, and 2 impeachments. His response to the COVID-19 pandemic and his challenges to the 2020 election results led to some of the most turbulent moments in modern American politics. He has always been a figure who inspires strong emotions. His supporters see him as a strong leader fighting for them, while his critics see him as a threat to democratic norms and institutions. The legal battles that have followed him for decades are a key part of his story. From civil lawsuits over his business dealings to criminal indictments after his first presidency, Trump has spent much of his public life in court. He has consistently maintained his innocence, framing these legal troubles as politically motivated attacks by his enemies. These cases have not diminished the loyalty of his core supporters. In fact, for many of them, the legal challenges have reinforced their belief that he is an outsider fighting against a corrupt system. This dynamic has made him a uniquely resilient figure in public life. As he serves his second term, Donald Trump continues to be a dominant force in American life. His focus on new financial ventures like cryptocurrency and his continued influence over the political landscape show that he is always looking for new ways to expand his power and brand. Whether one views him as a hero or a villain, his impact is undeniable. He has changed the way presidents communicate, how political campaigns are run, and what it means to be a public figure. His story is a testament to the power of personality and media in the modern age, and his legacy will be debated for generations to come.